Welcome everybody to another episode of Candid Convos. Today's guest is James Grant. James, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm super stoked about our episode today.
Well, James, you already know where I'm very happy because I'm interviewing someone that's very different. Please introduce yourself to our audience. Can you tell them what you did and what you do?
Well, my name is James Grant. I'm one of the founding partners of Georgia Trial Attorneys, and we help other personal injury lawyers make more money faster and with less stress by operating as their outsourced litigation department.
But this wasn't your first... did you set out to become a lawyer working as personal injury, or is this something that grew on you?
Oh, no. The story goes way back, and it's kind of crazy because in my second to last semester at Georgia Tech, where I was going to be a civil engineer, I just decided randomly, hey, let's try law school. This will be fun. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous looking back at what I did because I had jobs lined up. Like I was ready to go be a civil engineer. And once I graduated, we went to law school and then just things went from there. So it was definitely a crazy start that did not go as I initially planned, especially when I started school.
And the way you started to grow your law firm, it was very organic, right? Like, how were those first steps like?
Yeah, I mean, so once I worked a couple jobs after I passed the bar, you realize that you can work for somebody or you can work for yourself and you can create a company that then works for you. And my business partner and I, Mark, were like, that's exactly what we want to do because I guess it was just built in us that we weren't going to be good employees because we wanted it done our way. And that's a hard dynamic to undertake when you see things differently or you see there's better ways to approach it. And you're also willing to take that risk and say, hey, I'm willing to stick my neck out there and risk going into business, but then there's obviously a large return that you can obtain on the back end because if you do it right and do it well, it's going to work for you. And he and I were just like, we're going to take the plunge, we're going to try to make this work. And we stumbled and hacked our way through it for the first couple of years until we really started adopting an entrepreneurial or business mindset. And that's really just what it has, sent us on a rocket ship as far as our growth and our strategy and where we're really growing into in the future.
There's a couple of things that you shouldn't be doing. You should be investing your time in where money is going to come back. But I also know that you are big on delegation because of also how your law firm works. So what's your thoughts on delegating to other people? Because first thing, like I see the system you're using, or I can imagine the system you're using for email. But when it comes to delegating litigation, now that's on a completely different level. So what's the difference between those two?
So starting from the top of the funnel, so to speak, is your attorneys are really the decision makers that are driving a lot of the cases. But let's step back and look at what do you need a law license to do? Because it's not really a lot at the end of the day. You need a law license to sign pleadings, to give legal advice, and to argue in court, attend depositions, attend mediations, either argue or present on behalf of your client. That's it. Everything else from there is an administrative task that can be delegated to somebody else that is more fitting for their position and their place in the case. So with our firm, we try not to have our attorneys do a whole lot outside of those things because they're maximizing the value for the cases and the clients in those roles. I don't need them requesting records. I don't need them drafting discovery responses. I don't need them filing complaints. Those are all things that are in our pod system of one attorney, one paralegal, one administrative assistant, that they can all work together to accomplish those things, but it's not the attorney having to do everything. And it's not really the attorney having to be the quarterback. It's really the paralegal is more of the quarterback, but they're taking direction from their coach, which is effectively the attorney.
And what about the operation and execution? Like, what's the feel that your people have inside the company on what's the attitude, the type of culture that we share, the values? Because now I see the technical aspect, it has to be up the, like, you got to meet the standards. If not, it doesn't matter how much I like you, it can be dangerous for the firm. Like that's one, I'm 100% there with you. But once they pass that, I'm wondering what's it like working as one of your, as a member of your team?
Yeah. So, I mean, once you become a member of our team, it's a little bit different. Our company is run differently. And that's because we're 99% virtual. We only have one employee in our entire firm that comes in the office regularly, and that's our receptionist to handle the mail. We haven't really figured out a streamlined solution to where you can handle mail for a personal injury firm where you're dealing with checks and all sorts of things and completely outsource it. Now we're working on that, but we haven't found it yet. So that's the only employee that's in the actual office. So that means we have to work really hard to make sure that the team is still getting together outside of just seeing each other in the pod, seeing each other during the day. So one of the things that we've implemented is every day at 9:15 we have a stand-up meeting, and everyone in the company comes together and we go, everybody speaks, everybody talks about what their biggest accomplishment was for the day, what their 3 goals objectively are going to be, any obstacles in the way or any assistance they may need, and just really how they're feeling. And that's one of the things that we use to make sure that everyone stays together, sees each other, and builds connection, in addition to events that we do. Like we had our Christmas party. Again, we don't get to have normal Christmas parties in person. It's different. You're having virtual parties and giveaways and scavenger hunts and all sorts of different things that you can do, but you really have to make sure, especially in this virtual world that we're in now, especially after COVID, a lot of people want to work from home, and I don't blame them. I mean, I'm home right now. I would much rather just walk down to my basement, do my work, as opposed to getting ready, driving, sitting in traffic, having to go to an office, figuring out lunch. It's easier, and people like it and want it. So we've built a system that accommodates it, but it's definitely something you have to put a lot of effort into to make sure that culture doesn't go any number of ways that you don't want it to go. You have to drive the culture from the top down.
Wow. So, how to make a virtual office work. Yeah, you got to have some very strong culture and principles in order to make it work, because you might have the technical capabilities, but if you don't know how to handle that, like there's a lot of different aspects that working face to face brings to a relationship, and being able to replicate those in a digital environment, it's quite an accomplishment.
I mean, I think you're right. I mean, leadership is from the top down, whether it's good or bad. And I only know how to be myself. Now, the way I was when I first started this business is entirely different than the way I operate today. And that's been through years of coaching and mindset and reading and understanding and thinking and developing, because you have to be able to do those things and acquire this entrepreneurial mindset, because it's not normal, it's foreign, it just doesn't make sense, and it's not something that you just automatically grow into. It's something that you really have to research and dive into and seek counsel and build it from the ground up. And I think once you do that, it shows. And if you lead appropriately, then others will follow you. If you lead poorly, others aren't going to follow you, or they're going to blaze their own trails. So it's worked for us. Do I have a secret or a magic pill or secret sauce? No. I mean, we have failures, we have successes, but we've been able to ride this this train on a positive course, where we've got some really big things that are coming in the future, and it's all a part of our team. It's a part of our process. It's something where as we grow and we succeed individually, we succeed together. So as long as we're on that trajectory, I'm all right with it.
Well, it gives us a better idea of not only how you grew your business, but why you grew your business. Like it gives a lot of insight, especially for people that are still during that transition, whether it is to have a fully digital law firm, or whether it is to grow it and start investing in their processes. And if you got the type of people that you need to have working with you, then you have to have that very clear for you before you start the process. So everything you've shared today, it's been of great help to everyone out there. And there's just one last question that I'd like to ask before we wrap up, because I want to be mindful of your time. Can you please let people know where they can find you and what you can do for them?
Best way to get a hold of me, It's the same for both. It's our website, but it's also our toll-free number. The URL is the same as our toll-free number, which it's 833 for the win. So that's 833, the number 4, thewin.com. We've got tons of free resources for attorneys. If you want to draft complaints, discovery, motions, we like to give away a lot of our stuff because a rising tide raises all ships. And then if you see the work product that we give away for free, just imagine what it's like working for us or with us or both.
Well, yeah, who knows? Because hey, there's so many opportunities out there. The virtual world is changing things so fast that I'm excited for years to come. James, it's been amazing having you. I don't know if there's any type of last message you'd like to give to our audience before we wrap up.
I mean, it's just a matter of you've got to do it. You've got to put in the time. You've got to put in the effort. And if you want to grow a business and you want to succeed, it's not easy. There's going to be ups and downs. But as long as you have a plan and you follow the plan and stick to the plan, you're really going to do well.
Well, guys, you heard it from James. James, thank you very much for coming, and see you in another episode of Candid Convos.
Thank you, sir.